Welcome back to a very basic space program. Last time we put a bigger booster together and got ourselves into space properly. Now we've got some more missions we need to look at. So we've got a low space film return mission. We've got a low space biological experimentation. We've got our usual sounding rocket combinations. We've still got the down range milestone, which we're going to aim for very soon. I hope we're going to see if we can push that. I'm going to take, I think, this low space because it's pretty much what we've done before. However, it requires 35 units of sounding payload. And from here, it doesn't look as though, it looks as though our previous craft would actually complete it. However, just reading this little bit of text here, it says launch and recover a biological capsule and 35 units of scientific equipment. It doesn't say they have to recover those bits, but I think we have to assume we're going to have to rejig our capsule. So we may just keep the same craft, remove that mid section of sounding payload and put a new little capsule bit at the top with those units in, but we'll see. So before we get going on that though, and before I run the intro, please comment down below. Tell me, what do you think about the series so far? Do you want to see all the building? Do you want me to see me talking through the building? Would you rather I sped it up and talked over the top of it? You want me to pause some of the building and talk about the sort of intricacies I change things or why I do things? And what about the actual missions? Do you want to see them in as much detail? Do you want them sped up or just voiceover? What would you like to see? Anyway, we're going to accept that, and you'll see that a load of the other stuff vanishes. Oh, there we go, all the way down, and that's all we've got. So we're going to take that mission and we're going to do it. I think we may even think about putting a film camera on there just in case. So let's get and having a look at these craft. So here is our Javelin 1A J001 from last time. Now we do have a copy of this that's actually building at the moment, but we're not going to modify it because so little building work has been done on it that it sort of becomes pointless doing the modification. So what do we need to do? Well, first of all, we're going to take out the sounding unit, pull that to one side. We don't need that at the moment. Up at the top here, we're going to pull off these. What we do need to do is add in another little container. So we're going to drop this diameter down. Now we've already tooled the 300 quite a lot, so we should be able, ideally, to actually use that and it be cheap. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove that tank. We're going to open the tank UI again, and we're going to look for sounding payload. And that gives us 10. What do we actually need for this mission? Let's go and check that. What was we looking at? We were looking at requiring 35. So we're going to need a bit bigger than that. We're going to need about 3.5 times that. So let's go. That's 2 times, 3 times, and a half times. Now what's that going to give me? That's interesting. Still not changed. So if we open the UI, will that update us? There we go. 37. We need less than that. Let's have a look. Was it 35? 35. So let's change that just down to 36. Let's make it 36 just for the sake of okaying. There we go. So we've got our extra little tank. So that's going to be there. It's going to be a bit extra weight. But we've lost that other tank there. So we could just send this straight up as it is. Like so. And while we're actually in here, can we, vessels, can we actually end that? Yeah, I think we can scrap that one, can we? Yeah, we're going to scrap that vessel. So we could just launch this as is. We know that it's going to probably work. However, I would like to put a camera on there. Even though we don't have the mission for it, we can start to get some sort of camera science out of the way, even if it's just a little bit. Because how much does that cost, that little camera? That camera costs 100. What's that going to add to our build time? It adds 10 days, does it? Well, is that 2 of them? Oh, so it's going to add about 5 days. 5 days to our build time, which at the moment is actually nothing compared to the total of the craft. It does add a bit of cost to it, but again, not a big issue. So I think we'll think about sticking that on. It doesn't weigh too much. However, the big one is the engine. Let's take this off here, and we're going to move this craft up. So I hold the shift button down before I click, and it allows me to move the whole craft. We've got the A4 engine there. We've got a couple of choices. We can keep the A4 engine. We can actually also uprate it. But we've also got, let's find it, The XLR of 41. There we go. That should actually be available for us to use now. We've actually done the research. We do not have the XLR of 53 yet, but we've got the 41. So what's the 41 give us? It gives us, in fact, we can just right click on it, can we? So the 41 gives us 70 seconds of burn time. So pretty much the same as what we've got. It also gives us, come back, engine. It also gives us, let's see, 333 kilonewtons of thrust. And where is the value that I'm looking for? I am looking for, here we are, ISP 203 and 239. Okay, so what does the A4 give us? This gives us 203, 239, the same, so it's pretty much the same engine. Okay, we're not too worried about it. However, we could spend 35,000 to get this one, which is the A9 variant, and it supposedly can burn for longer. I think we may need to look at those in the future, but right now we're going to go with the original engine that we had. We're going to put that base back on there. Get that on there. Get on. Are you on? Oh, I think that's in the wrong place. There we go. Put it down. Right, because we know this thing, it works. So there we go. We've reduced the sounding payload on it. How much does some of that sounding payload actually weigh? Let's have a look. So that there is weighing us, okay, that's 25 grams for about 35. We had 4 times that, so you may be looking at 100. So we could just about put that camera on. I think we're going to leave the camera this time. I would like to put it on just to get some extra science, but I think we're going to leave it this time. So we're going to rename this to J0002, and we're going to say, do we need to actually do we need to tool anything? We do. We need to tool that, but it should be pretty cheap. That's going to save us a day. How much is that tooling going to cost us though? 166 funds. 166 funds for a day. That seems a bit excessive. So you know what, we're not going to tool that. I'm actually choosing not to tool that because I can imagine we're going to have to redo sizes, and that's a pretty specific size. So we're not too worried about that. All right, let's get this sorted out. Staging correct. We know all of our normal action groups. We do not have any extra science stuff just yet, I do not believe. So I think we're ready to go. So we're going to put this into the build queue and get on with it. So I'm going to join you once we've either got that building done or we've finished a bit of research, I think. Or we could actually have a look at spending some research cash, shall we say. Maybe we'll do that. Right, let's get on with it. One thing that I actually completely forgot was the amount of science that we got in the last episode. We got 23 science sitting at the moment. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this early materials science node. We're also going to take this one because I really want those integral structure tanks. I think they're going to be vital to us. That leaves us 6 left. We're going to take the basic rocketry. That leaves us with 3 more. Now, we can start our way towards these solids. I really want to get to these solids. We could do that. Or we could do a bit of avionics. We're going to want the avionics at some point. So we're going to take one of there. And I think we're going to go for... We're going to hold off, I think, on the others. We're not in a hurry. These don't really do a lot for us. We could use the Nike or something like that potentially to make our sounding rockets a bit more punchy. They burn for a while. They've got a lot of thrust. It would be an interesting takeoff for us, shall we say, for our little small sounding rockets. So that's maybe something to look at for some of those sounding rocket sort of downrange contracts. So I think we're gonna have a look at that, because that might actually allow us to build something cheap and easy while we're doing other research. But we'll think about it. Or we may end up cancelling those too. It does take us on this route here though. So let's have a look at spending upgrade points and funds. We have one upgrade point that we got because we got so much science last time. We're actually going to dump that in R&D, I think. Yeah, we're going to give ourselves a little R&D bump. Now, we do have some funds as well available. So we're going to buy... I think we're going to buy a 1 token. I want to keep a bit of money available. We need to start stockpiling because we want to get a bigger launch pad at some point. I want to start building the 60-ton pad because we will need that. We're going to need that potentially for orbit and potentially for the 3,000 kilometer downrange. So that will probably be my next purchase because it will take time to build, which gives us 1 point. We're going to stick that in the VAB. There we go. It gives us a tiny little bump. What does it do to the build time? It takes that down to 142. And our tech, well, what are we at? We've got a big load of stuff now. So we're trying to get through these rocketry nodes as quickly as possible, primarily because we want to try and get the experience in the rockets. We want to try and, you know, get the data on the rockets so they're more consistent. The more consistent these rockets are, the better we are doing. So what I'm actually going to do is, can I move that basic rocketry up? Yeah, we can. We can move the basic rocketry up a little bit. We need to get some more research points in this because that material era, satellite era material science is currently going to take us, what, 5 years? Something stupid like that to do, or 4 years. So we need to get on with this. So we're in October. We're probably going to finish the year out before we get this finished. So let's warp it and then get on with the mission, I think. We have our craft ready to go. We're going to roll it out. While it's rolling out, though, we'll actually clear these contracts out of the way. Let's get rid of all this stuff. We've got so many. You can slow the video down and look at those. We've got so many random contracts built up. So we are now into 1952. We've not had a fast start. We're taking our time a little bit. So let us warp to that completed and get that going up. So here we are on the launch pad. We're just going to prepare ourselves for launch. And I actually think we're going to do something a little different this time to last time. So last time we went straight up. We don't need to go into space for this one. And in actual fact, if we stayed in high altitude for longer, it might be better for us because we've got data we want to recover from those biological capsules. So we only need to go to 100. I think we go up and we start heading sideways a little bit. We want to start to do that gravity turn. Not a big strong one because we don't have the fuel for it. We don't have the power for it at the moment in this rocket. We need to get a better engine. But we can start to actually turn over a bit. We only need to go to 100. As long as we go over 100, we're fine. And we're going to try and burn all this fuel up, I think, in doing that. So we're going to use Smart ASS for this. We're going to set it so it's got a straight up and pitch to start with, and then we're going to start playing with it a little bit. We could use power assisted guidance or anything like that. PVG, I think it is in MechJeb. You can do some other stuff as well, but we're going to use this one. So we are ready. We're going to get going right now. Engines a go. And we've got flame. There we go. Superb. We are now on track. So we're going to go up a little bit. And when we hit about 100, then I'm going to start just tilting it over just a smidgen. There we go. Now, once it starts to turn over, we're going to actually go to surface velocity plus. There we go. And it's going to hold us just off it, just on surface velocity plus, and then we can actually do a little negative there, and it's going to hold us below. It's going to push that gravity turn a little bit. Once we get out the thick air, once we get out that thick air, it's going to be making this craft unstable. We can actually start going a bit further. Okay, we're just holding it right now. We're keeping an eye on this altitude. Okay, we can go a bit more, I think. Yep, there we go. A bit more. That's good. Keeping ready to kill the burn when we need to. We don't want to go too high. This is actually going really well. This is a lot shallower than we thought last time. We're actually going to kill it early because that could, there we go. We lost a fin because we were going a bit too fast, too much force in it. Remember, these fins are not the supersonic fins. These are just the standard early fins. So we're slowing right down because we've actually turned so much. So we're just going to decouple that. We're going to activate our biological sample and we're going to be ready to go. We're going to put, let's arm the parachute as well. We're nice and high up. We are going to go into space, which is something we weren't originally planning to do. And we just got to hope that we reach that 100. We're going to reach that fine. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to decouple our craft when we're on a sort of, there we go, facing backwards. So that's going to actually have slowed us a little bit on the sideways. Probably not the best idea, but anyway, we will do that. It's a very odd shape, this, isn't it? So there we go. We've now gone past 100 and we're ready to return safely. The actual booster is tumbling well below us. So obviously it's been more affected by air resistance and so forth than we have. We've probably got a bit more sort of density or a bit heavier compared to it again, which is concerning still. We don't want to carry that speed down. So we're just going to speed up to our peak there, to our apoaps. Again, if you want me to speed these bits up, please do say so, and I'll see what I can do, because, you know, doing this repeatedly, probably boring. If you want me to compact a few missions together in an episode, and we probably will do that as these things become monotonous. But again, each of these early missions has its own sort of nuances and things to play with. So for example, we now have new tanks that we can actually put on this craft, which will actually make it more usable for bigger missions. So we've now got aluminium tanks I think we can put on, because we researched that while this was being built. So we're on our way back down now. We can actually just check, are we actually, yeah, that's running. And what about this? These are running, they're getting lots of data. So we've almost got telemetry from space done. We have that, and we're now still collecting pressure data and temperature data from high up. The temperature data actually takes a long time to do, so we can just keep running that whenever we're not, whenever we're doing missions. We can keep gathering just a bit of data every single time. There we go. Got the pressure data coming in. What are we at on science right now? Let's have a look. Up to 4.8. So that's given us another jump of a few bits, and hopefully, actually, some more data from this would be nice. So this says that we've got about 4 science on that, which we won't get until it's recovered. So that's really nice. Or is that total? I think that's total we've got. So we've done a few bits of science on that. So we're going to get a chunk anyway, which is really nice. Now, the rest of the craft is still down below us. We're not, I do believe, catching it. So we're actually going slower, which is good. However, we've got a lot of speed right now. We're carrying an awful lot of speed. Now, because we've got this on the end here, we're actually going to find out what's heavier. I think this end of the craft is heavier. Oh dear, we're going past it. That's good. Now we need to be slowing down. So we're actually going to be using the biological sample as a heat shield here. So this could go horribly wrong. We may end up actually having, no, it's slowing down nicely actually. We're going to be okay. We could have actually, we're actually carrying more speed than the booster, interesting. Look at that, going straight past it. So it's actually slowed down. It's less dense than as it would see. It's got more air, it's got more air resistance than we have, probably compared to its mass. So it's probably less dense. It's not a less suitable shape, shall we say, because it's not got a pointy end. Our cross surface area is not particularly big. So we're slowing down nicely, and we should be coming down in the water, which is nice. So we're not coming down in the KSC anymore. Can we see the KSC even? I cannot see it. I'm guessing it will be over there, probably. Is that where we've come from? I would imagine so. I think we launched in the. The sort of afternoon, so we'll probably be over there. That would be the coastline. So we've actually travelled quite a distance. Let's actually have a look. Where's the? Remember to check this. Where is it? The flight recorder. We have gone 154 kilometers downrange. That's interesting. And what we can actually have a look is look at max Q. So, okay, so we had max Q. That was our return. So our max Q. Let's see. Can I just change this a bit? Can we do some changes? I want to see this bit here. Can I zoom in? Let's have a look. I don't want that. Let us go that way. No, it won't go any detailed. So we can see that max Q is very early on in this flight, and we were still for a long time actually, even as we were accelerating, the air pressure was actually the effect on us. The dynamic pressure was less. So we need to, next time I think we might look at this flight recorder and see where max Q is. That might be useful to us. So we've got stuff splashing down around us. We can speed this up a bit because we can. And we can just come on down now to land, or splash down. I suppose this is our first splash down. It's a pity you can't get science for splash downs. It's not like Kerbal. Right, so the probe is actually running out of electricity. I think we are, we've got a third left. We're going to be fine. There we go. We're out of signal, so we can't transmit anything, but that's fine because we're going to be recovered, which is good. Coming down a little bit faster than last time, so 5 meters per second. So this extra weight has actually affected us. We should have probably re-gauged the parachutes, but we don't need to, or I don't think we do. We'll find out when we come down. Oh, are we going to sink? Oh dear. Are we sinking, or are we going to go back up? I think we is sinking. Oh dear. Well, we'll just recover that as it sinks. We don't need to watch it. So Interesting, some of the Corona, I know we didn't have a film camera on there, but the Corona satellites, they actually had a little salt plug in them that would actually cause them to sink if they were missed in being sort of caught in midair. And if they landed in the water and they were not recovered after a certain amount of time, the salt plug would give up and then they would sink to the bottom so that other people couldn't find them. So there we go, we have our task done. We've got a bit of science there. I think we should have a quick spend of that, but we should also have a look at these missions. What else have we got? Right, we have another biological sample. Okay, bit heavier and a bit higher. And then we've also got the film return, which requires we go downrange by a bit more. Okay, now we could almost have done that time. So maybe we should do the biological, the low space film camera. Maybe that's something that's worth us doing. I don't know. It's a pity you can't do them both at the same time. So let's have a look. Let's spend some of this first of all. Now we've got this, which is what we want. We've got that. We could get that, or we could actually bring these into play. I would like to get this, so we're going to get that. And I would like this, so we're going to get that. And that leaves us with 5, which is enough for that. So I think that should be enough for orbit. I think. So anything else now is bonus. I think this is going to be our next target. Or we could go straight to these and get these sort of knocked out of the park. So let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at these missions, look at what we've got tech-wise and what impact that's had, and then we'll maybe do another quick mission for this episode. Right, we have redeveloped the Javelin. You're going to see that in a minute, and we've accepted this film camera contract. So we need to go 100 kilometers up, 200 kilometers downrange, and return the film camera. We have stuck a film camera on our craft. We've kept the biological capsule on there as well. You can see we are almost out of money though, because we've changed the main tank on our rocket to aluminium, which has cost us a little bit in refining it, and so far it's about 5,000. But the majority of our money has actually gone on starting the construction of a new launch pad, a 60-ton launch pad, which we will need. And it's going to take about 2 years at the moment. Hopefully, any money we get from now on, we can shorten that time. But I think we need to actually get going. So we're actually in the middle of 1952 now, and we're about to launch. So let's get this thing launched, I think. Right, so here we are on the launch pad with our second launch of the day. It's going to be a little different. We're actually going to use the flight recorder, and I very rarely use it, but it allows us to see downrange distance, and it also allows us to watch max Q. I want to start the gravity turn on this because we need to get 200 kilometers downrange. I need to start this gravity turn reasonably early, but I also don't want to be turning too much away from prograde when we're approaching max Q. So we're going to be monitoring this graph a little bit. So we're going to start our turn pretty quickly, pretty early. So we're going to start actually taking off at a degree over. So let's get going. We're going to start the engines. Wait for the flame. There we go. Off we go. So we're already starting to lean over, and we can actually push it a little bit already and get it going. We're going up a lot quicker because we have these lighter tanks. Okay. Now we're going to put it onto surface velocity. We're going to put it 1 over. Just keep that turn going, and we're now watching this max Q. I just need to be aware of this. I don't want to push it too far too quickly. We're approaching max Q around now, I think. Almost there. Almost. It's going to start coming through. Yeah, so I think we can start the turn a bit more. I think we're going to be okay. The craft, I think, has survived. I think we're going past max Q. It's just going to break. There we go. We're past max Q now. So we're through max Q. So now we can start being a bit more, shall we say, aggressive with our turning. Hopefully we should be okay. The craft should be able to take this. We need to be ready to cut our engines. We don't mind going high. We don't mind going too high. That's not a problem. In fact, we want to go too high. We just don't want to go over about 170. In fact, there we go. Oh, we've gone too far. We've gone too far. Oh, near. We don't mind the spinning now, actually. That's not a problem. We don't mind that. In fact, we're going to blow the fairings when we're going forward direction, because that'll give us a nice big jolt. There we go. There we go. Fairings have just given us a little jolt. Right. We are going high. This might be an overburn situation where we've got a problem. So we're going to activate the camera and everything. They should now be collecting data. Let's try and grab them. Yep, they are running. But let's have a look. Is it going to... Is it actually... Can it collect data from high? Oh, it is running. It just takes a long time. So we're going to get some camera data going. Right, let's fast forward now as fast as we can to this. I think this may burn up on re-entry. I think we may have a re-entry burn up problem, but what we could actually do is we could decouple this when we're facing the other way. There we go. There you go. Get a little bit of, every little bit of energy is going to help us right now. Every little bit. So let's have a look. We can arm the parachute. There we go. So the parachute is ready, and we are basically just on free float now. We are going to, we're going to well do the distance requirement. I think the big concern we have is burning up on re-entry. That's the big concern, because this is quite a big mass. It does have a large surface area though, so that will be interesting. We've got you know, close to probably 200 kilograms here, and we were probably only dealing with about 100 last time. So the surface area is going to be key to this one. So we're coming back through now. We're doing almost 2,000 meters per second, and we're gaining speed as we come through because we are still not in any thickish atmosphere. So that craft, I think that's going to burn up pretty badly. Hopefully this thing, you know, it's going to be touch and goes whether we do this or not. We've not had any heating, but this is a lighter rocket that's gone higher and faster than before. We actually missed cutting the engines off, partly because I had the key mouse over the flight recorder, which was an error of mine. So, you know, my fault if we lose it. The program has a bit of a problem because we've got very little cash left, so we could probably get one more rocket launcher. This could be the shortest series I've ever done. Right, speed it on down. Let's see, are we starting right? We're not speeding up as much. I think it's starting to equilibrate. Out there we go. We're starting to lose now. Okay, that's good. Oh dear. Right, that's exploding. Oh, and we've got high G's, but yeah, we've slowed down. So this capsule, this camera, has actually really helped us there, because of the fact that it's got such a wide cross section, such a large cross section for its mass. It's actually helped slow us down now, which is really good. So we know we can actually do that sort of mission again, and we've got downrange 400 kilometers, so we could actually do that for days with this craft. This craft's going to be able to do most of those missions, hopefully, with that film camera, and we can just keep racking up the cash if needed be for those. And we're going to get some science out of it as well, which is good. Have we got any extra science for this? We've got a couple of points of science while we're at it. How wonderful is that? And that's not including the film camera or the biological capsule there. So potentially we could get a bit more, even because they've been in space and whatnot for a while. So we could get a nice little bit of science out of that. So that's really good. And that adds to our science, and maybe might even give us a bonus upgrade point, which would be really nice. So let's just check, have we actually done what we needed to do? I think we have. We're just returning home now. We've also gained a new altitude record and some other stuff. So what's that done to our bank balance? That's a good point. We are okay. We've got a bit more cash there. That's good. All right, let's speed this on the way down. I don't think we need, you can see we've had a bit of that was the braking phase previously that we went through. So that wasn't actually too bad compared to what we've actually had on launch. That wasn't actually a massive deceleration. That was quite okay. That's not bad at all. Now we've got a bit more cut off. We can close the flight recorder now, and we can just watch this thing come down. It's going quite slowly actually, which is very interesting. This is a very nice braking stage. Obviously we can speed this up a bit so we get down there. So this is obviously very large but not very dense. That's good. Right, we should have parachutes going. There we go. And they should hopefully slow us down. Hopefully, at some point. There we go. There we go. I always like to knock off maximum time warp when we're actually engaging parachutes. A little bit of a shadow. Oh, that's our shadow, is it? Yeah, that must be from for the sun coming down. All right, our batteries are low. Now that's interesting. We've not had a battery low on this thing before. So we've got, we should have enough to actually land with it, but that's telling us that actually we're reaching possibly a point where this avionics core potentially either needs to be upgraded so that it uses less battery power, or actually just made bigger with more batteries for future missions if we need to do anything. Now it has probably been transmitting science, which will take extra energy, extra electricity, but yeah, even so, we're going to be close, and I don't really like losing avionics before you actually come down, so that's going to be annoying. I think we are actually going to lose it at the last minute, aren't we? The parachute should take it down dead stick though, I believe, so that should be okay. In fact, it's going to be very tight as to what happens. So we'll find out if it's going to take it. There we go. We've run out of electric charge. No longer have control of this craft. That's fine. That's not a big issue for us. We didn't really have control of it anyway. It just means I can't activate parachutes or anything. So not a big issue. And down we go. And this one will float bob a lot because of its density. Hello, how are you? There we go. Right, let's recover this one if we can. There we go. Note to self, the bouncing in the water bug is still there, so if you've got a lightish craft it will bounce. So we managed to get ourselves recovery of that vessel. What did we get? We got a little bit of science for biological sample flying high, a little bit of science for biological sample in space, and a couple of points for that. So we are up to 13, and we've got another upgrade point. So what are we in here? Let's have a look. What do we want to spend that on? 13. I could get the satellite era stuff. What does that? Oh, does that open? That opens up all of this potentially in the future. Would be nice. So I do think we go for that, or could go for this. Ooh, I do want that at some point as well, and then we want those. I think I'll think about that before the next episode. So I think we'll end that here. We've got an upgrade point to spend. We've got some monies to spend, and I think until next time, please comment down below if you like it. Please like it. If you really like it, please subscribe, and any comments are welcome. So until next time, have a great one.